So this is day 2 of Make 20K Months Your Norm. Okay, so what we're covering today is we're going to dive deep into the strategy and the how to make 20K months your norm. Okay, so I'm going to cover a strategy that you can basically repeat and do every single month to make this a standard in your business. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're doing this in March, in April, in May, next year, like whatever it is, this strategy I've done over and over and over and over again in order to attract clients in my business. Okay, so we're going to be covering a lot. Hello, Joe. Hello, Kristen. I just always have to say hello to everybody that's tuning in. Yay, hashtag live. We'll do the recording today. Amazing. So let's get into it because we actually have a lot to cover today. We have a lot to cover. So there are 3 areas of focus when it comes to actually understanding how to bring clients into our offers and into our business, right? So when I take a look at in someone's business, like what are the real moving needles and what are the foundational elements that you need to know in order to like bring the cash, bring the clients, bring everything into your business, right? So when I look at that, it's offers, it's marketing, and it is sales. Okay, so we're going to break this down step by step. But before we do, I want to know inside of the chat, just let me know. And I don't care if you're, new in business, you're seasoned, you're scaling, let me know in the chat, which area of focus do you feel you're amazing at? Is it offers? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it all of them? And also let me know in the chat, what areas of focus do you feel like you need to place more intention on? Like you need to refine it a little bit more. Maybe you just need to get better at it. Let me know in the comments what that looks like for you, because I know for me early on, and I'm just going to use the story because I'm going to get into the story too of how I jumped from $2,600 a month to $30,000 the very next month. One key area of focus that I refined a lot during that time period for me personally was marketing and getting so much more clear in terms of the messaging of how I was actually presenting my offer, right? Because most of the times I always say your offers, usually, not always, but usually, like they're great and people want to buy them. Like the actual offer itself, like the delivery, the videos, the components, whatever you have inside of it, they're usually really good, right? It's like when I take a look at clients' offers, other people's offers, when I join into other programs, I'm like, oh, this is great. However, sorry, I like indigestion. However, sometimes people can have a really amazing offer, but if they don't know how to clearly market or sell it, it's going to be hard for them to bring in those people, right? So let's look at the chat. Joe, I need to focus on all 3. Prob's best at sales though. Amazing. This is just like, once again, self-awareness. Jeff, need to place more focus on getting offer creation right. I'm feeling pretty good about marketing and sale approaches. Awesome. So before we go into every single area of the business, like before we go into offers, before we go into marketing, before we go into sales, I want to show you basically like the 100 feet overview of what I did the month I jumped from making, I made $2,600 cash to $30,000 the very next month. So looking at it from like a top view of everything, this is basically how it looked like. And feel free to take a screenshot of this or do whatever, but I'm going to break this down here in the next few slides as well. But the month that I made that jump, I wasn't just sitting there and praying to the universe and praying to God that I would make a lot of money, right? Yesterday, of course, we covered embodiment. We covered really understanding who we need to be, how we need to think, what we need to believe in order to attract that cash and in order to attract clients into our business. But at the same time, if you don't actually know how to do it strategically, it's not going to work, right? So what I basically did was I looked at, sorry, when people join into the Zoom room, I'm like, I have to let people in. Okay, so I basically started with understanding in order for me to get to a point where I want to bring in a lot of clients, I want to bring in a lot of cash, I need visibility. I need to be seen and I need people in my audience to know who I am and what I do. So for me, my main focus actually the entire month was, and prior to me even like going into doing a launch XYZ, was getting visible. Okay, so this was simply by being active and posting content on my main social media platforms, getting interviewed and doing collaborations with other people's profile and audience. One question I get a lot, like a lot from people is how do I grow my audience and how do I get seen? Speaking on other people's platforms, other people's stages, doing collaborations is one of the easiest and fastest ways to get visible. If you guys are not doing that on honestly like a weekly basis, I highly recommend starting. And like you guys are in this Facebook group, literally make a post in the group. I encourage you, all of you guys to do it. Be like, hey, I'm looking to collaborate and this is what I do. And you can even say the type of person that you maybe want to do a collab with. And I guarantee there's probably more than a handful of people that you guys can set up and do either like an interview or a collaboration or just get on live and talk. Okay, because what that does is their audience, they're loyal to that person and your audience is loyal to you. If you guys have a conversation or you get interviewed or you interview them, the audience is going to get curious on the other person. So for an example, there's probably a lot of people in your audience who are wanting to learn about a specific topic that you might not necessarily focus on teaching every single day. And or they might resonate with the person that you do a collab with, or they might resonate more with you and actually start to follow you and buy from you. Like I've had so many times where I even interview people on my platforms. I've done it before in this Facebook group. Someone finds me from that interview because it's actually from their audience watching me and they're like, oh my gosh, I just love your energy. They start to follow me, consume my stuff, and then lo and behold, they reach out and buy one of my offers, right? And it's not because I was interviewing them or they were interviewing me. It was because like I was being seen and I was visible. So collaborating on other people's profiles, audience, that's helpful. And then the last thing that I touched on was other social media platforms. So at a point, like once again, it just like this is self-awareness of where you're at in your business, but there will be a point where your social media, what you're posting every single day is great. And usually I see people posting on like 2 platforms, which is like usually Instagram and Facebook. But I made it a point to expand on other social media platforms by not doing more work. And that basically meant repurposing the content that I was already posting on Instagram and Facebook. So I would take the copy, send it as an email. I would take it. And then, most recently I'm on TikTok. So now I'm creating videos on there. Even for this masterclass, 20K months, I think we have close to like 120 people registered for this masterclass. I think I had a good amount, like I want to say like 30 people come from TikTok. And that's like a new platform. It's probably one of the first times I've promoted on there to get people signed up for a masterclass. But it was interesting to see that when you expand on other social media platforms, once again, you're just visible, like more eyeballs on you. For you, it's less work because you're not creating necessarily more content. You're just repurposing it and you're being smart about it. Okay, so I was visible. Now, the other thing that I did was I hosted a 5-day challenge. Now, if you guys are familiar with challenges, it's basically another word for like workshop or master classes. Now, for me, the reason why I did this is because like hosting master classes, challenges, trainings, and whatever you want to call it, workshops, I love to do it because I think it's just so fun. Like I love to teach. I know people love it too because they get a lot of value. It's like they also get momentum because when you're in a room with me, when you see other people just showing up, doing the homework, posting the group, like it's an energy. It's just as if like you're attending a live event. So I wanted to do a free 5-day challenge. Now, the strategic part about this is when people spend time with you, even if it's for an hour, they trust you more. right? Like a relationship and a connection is built. So at the end, I would always invite them to the offer that I was promoting at the time. So once I invited them, if people wanted to get the solution for the problem that I was selling in the offer, guess what? They would buy, right? Now, the last piece of this is how I started to make this basically my normal, how I started to normalize every single month in my business growing exponentially. What I see people doing a lot, and I'm going to talk about this later in the slides, but I'm going to touch on it just briefly right now, is I see a lot of people doing this type of method where it's like they'll do a free masterclass, free challenge, they'll promote, get clients in, but then they can't replicate, they can't duplicate that because they push so fucking hard that single month. Let me know in the chat if you've ever done this before, or if you've seen other people do it and you look at their model and you're like, oh, that's not sustainable. Let me know in the chat if you ever thought about that, because there is a season where I'm like, I don't know if this is sustainable, especially in the beginning of my business. But what I realized was, after I did this challenge, I turned it into like an evergreen offer, like an evergreen opt-in, meaning anybody could join that free 5-day challenge and go through and watch the trainings. And I made it once again a point to promote it on my social media. I made it a point to promote it on my social media. And I think I maybe mentioned this. I don't know. I mentioned it sometime this week. Maybe it was on yesterday's training, or maybe it was during like Empire Creator Live, or another training I was doing. But I still have people opt into that 5-day challenge that I did like 2 years ago. Like I still have people opt in, which is to me insane, but it's like, it works, right? It works. So this is like the 100 feet overview of basically what I did strategically to make that leap in my business. What does Evergreen mean? Like you can join anytime. Yeah, so basically they don't have to join like the live session, right? So I basically had all the trainings in like a landing page, a funnel where people could opt in and then they could just watch right away. So yes, they can join basically at any time. Let me just look at the chat. Austin, I have so many offers that's probably overwhelming. I'm working to streamline market, which will be helping me with more sales. Awesome. That's amazing. Ali, that's exactly how I found you. Awesome. I love that. I love that so much. So in order to actually make that effective in your own way, we need to break down the 3 core areas of focus for the strategy to like actually work, right? Because looking at this, it's like, okay, cool, that's easy, that's simple. Like, let's get into it, right? But in order for you to like actually bring in clients, we want to make sure every piece of that area and every piece of offer marketing and sales is actually clear. So let's first get into the first piece, which is your offer suite. Now, you need to ask yourself as a business owner, like, what is going to quote unquote make up your 20K months? Like, if you don't have offers that will allow you to scale to 20K, then you want to make sure you do have some. Now, you want to have, I say, like, usually at least 2 core offers you are selling to your audience, right? So back then I had 2 offers I was selling. I was selling a 3-month group program. It was like a mid-ticket program. And then I had high-ticket one-on-one private coaching. So for me back then, when I was thinking about, like, when I was even creating these slides, I'm like, what was I actually selling? It was only 2 things. Now you guys see me selling like multiple things because I've built up my business to a point where I can do that. But back then, when I was really stabilizing my income, stabilizing my revenue, stabilizing my business in order to scale exponentially, I like didn't have that many offers, right? Because I'm a firm believer in too, it's like, if your offers aren't selling, usually, not always, but usually if you create another offer, that's also not going to sell. Right. So it's more so to do with getting clear in your messaging, which we'll get to in the next few slides. But I recommend focusing on selling one high ticket offer and one low/mid ticket offer. Now, down here, I wrote in bold, both offers should add reoccurring income, both of them, especially in the beginning. Now, the reason why I say this is because both of these right here, let me just let someone in. Both of these right here, there were payment plan options. So if people didn't pay in full, they could pay like every single month to pay like the payment in full. So for me, if I brought in 5 or 10 clients, that would add reoccurring income every single month for like 3 months or like 6 months if someone was doing private coaching for me. So although like over the course of like 3 to 6 months, you'll collect all that money, which is amazing, but it's easier for you to sustainably scale instead of collecting all of that money upfront. Now, of course, paying full is upfront. It's fucking amazing, because if you can get, the entire amount today, that's perfect. And if you guys are also are joining into the Zoom, just please mute yourself. I don't know who that was, but please just mute yourself. I'm gonna mute some of you guys. I forgot to change the fucking settings on Zoom before I jumped on here. But that's okay. Just please mute yourself if you guys are tuning in. So like pay in fulls are great, but it's like next month you have to get another client. And I'm not saying it's like you have to get another client. Of course you're going to get another client. But when I look at huge businesses, right? Like when I see real like brick and mortar businesses like AT&T and like Verizon and Xfinity, right? They have like reoccurring income every single month, right? Because they have all their clients on like subscriptions, right? Every single month you pay for Wi-Fi. Every single month you pay for your phone bill. It's March 1st. So probably all of you guys have like payments that are going through right now every single month. So although they can collect maybe annually in one day, which is amazing, but over time that reoccurring income, it builds, right? So let me know in the chat right now, do you have 1 or 2 offers that you can build reoccurring income with? And something new that I added to my offer suite just a few months ago was my membership, Monetize Social membership. And you guys are going to have the opportunity to learn more about that here at the end of the training. But Monetize Social membership, it's a monthly membership where basically people can get access to like weekly action plans to grow your social media and sign on clients. I realized it was like in the middle of last year, I realized a lot of people have a hard time scaling because they're not consistent with the basic actions. They're always chasing new things, right? So even for you right now, is your client trying to find like the golden secret for something? But do they actually need just like something really basic and consistent every single day? And if you're like, yeah, oh my gosh, that is so true, maybe that's the perfect opportunity for you to add in some sort of like reoccurring structure. And it doesn't have to be a membership, but maybe it is like a 3-month like boot camp or something, or like a 3-month like mastermind, right? Where you do calls every single week and you guys jump on and you collaborate and you do like, whatever it is that you're selling and you're teaching. But let me know in the chat, just say yes or no if you guys have something like this right now. Because I see 8 people are watching or 9 people are watching now in the Facebook group live. And I see we have about 7 or 8 people here in the Zoom room. Let me look at the chat here quick. And yeah, if you guys have any questions as I'm going through this, just drop it into the chat. Jeff, what were the approximate prices of the 3-month group program and the private coaching? Yeah, so back then, my 3-month group program, if I remember correctly, it was like $4,000 or $5,000. And for my one-on-one private coaching back then, it was $1,500 a month. So if I signed people on for like 3 months or 6 months, then it was easier, of course, for me to build that reoccurring structure. Austin, yes, I have tiered offers, looking to streamline offers and market them. Amazing. And I'm assuming, yeah, a lot of you guys have your offers already solid. Joe, no, Marley, and hopefully I'm pronouncing all of your guys' names right. If I'm not, I apologize. No, Lauren, I have loved adding a monthly membership to my offers. Yeah, it's the best. And if you guys are saying no, this is amazing self-awareness, because now it's like how amazing would it be? Like truly just sit and like visualize for a sec. I'm going to close my eyes and I want you guys to do it with me. If you sit there and you visualize, by the end of March, you can make the same amount of money in April without signing on any new client. How would you feel? Open your eyes. I guarantee you feel fucking amazing. You'd feel amazing. And not just because you're making like reoccurring income every single month, but you'll be able to actually scale your business with much more ease. With much more ease. Because I see sometimes so many people like frantically building and trying to sign on more clients every single month. And then instead of it helping them, it actually hurts them because they're doing it from a very like lack and scarcity energy. Right? From a very like lack and scarcity energy. Like I know, for me, when I was in like year one of my business, I felt like this at the really beginning of every single month. So every single month, I would feel like this like anxiety almost and this panic because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do it all over again. And of course, back then I didn't have like the mindset that I do have right now. But like it was harder to scale because I wasn't focused on like the reoccurring income. And so that's something that you want to touch on, especially if you don't have that in your offer suite right now. Donnie, recurring are great. I started doing that this year. 1,200 a month for 3 months has been great through clients at this level. Yeah, it's like, that's amazing because for me also, the way that I look at it is if you have clients staying on with you for 3 months, it's like, you kind of have 3 months to like bring in more clients. And like, of course, you'll bring in more every single month, but just like almost that relief of like, you don't have to get clients, but you know that you're going to. Like, that's the type of mindset that I always have. Like, there's no pressure to go chase clients and there's no pressure to go make money, but it's like, of course, you're going to make money, right? It's like the contradiction and it's like the balance of what we talked about yesterday, like the DNA. Like delusional, of course, we're going to sign a lot of clients, but it's like normal for us to make money every single month. And of course, we're going to attract because we're just fucking amazing, right? We get to have more time and space. Yeah, absolutely. And hello, Haya. I see that you just jumped on here in the Zoom room. Okay. So after you get clarity in your offer suite, the second thing that you want to touch on and that we want to go into is the marketing piece. Okay, is the marketing. Now let me just take a sip of water. Otherwise, I'm going to start to lose my voice. Okay, is the marketing piece. So when I look at marketing is basically content, especially on social media, right? Creating content that nurtures your audience to get them closer to buying and or having them ask you how they can buy something regardless of you selling them anything. Now, reread the last line that I have underlined, right? How you can have them buy something regardless of you selling them anything. Now, the month when I jumped from $2,600 to $30,000 in 1 month, this started to happen to me. I was creating content on social media. Some of them would have like call to actions to like buy my offer or like sign up for the challenge X, Y, and Z. But all of a sudden I start to get messages from people saying, hey, do you do one-on-one coaching? Hey, tell me more about your program. Hey, I saw you. I noticed you, or like I saw one of your posts and I see that you do X, Y, and Z. Like I've been wanting to learn how to do that. So I wasn't even selling, but people started to reach out and ask. Now, sometimes when people think about sales and selling, they think they always have to like forward sell their offer in order to get clients. That's not necessarily the case. Like if your content is really, really, really that good, people will reach out because they'll be like, oh, this is something I need help with. Let's see what she or he has to offer. So yes, your content should be that fucking good that you don't have to sell, but people still reach out to you, right? Or quote unquote, you don't need to sell, right? So this happened to me a lot. Like I had 2 one-on-one clients find me and sign on right away. Like I didn't know where they came from that month. I hadn't seen them before. Someone said someone said they came from like a referral. So like someone in like my network or friend group sent them to me and they signed on right away. But the thing about this is it wasn't a coincidence, and I know why it happened. Can you guys guess why it happened? Let me know in the chat. Can you guess why this happened? I'm going to go back to the slide. It was because of this. Because of visibility. I was so fucking visible and seen that month. Like, if you open up social media, my face was there. If you looked at a profile you follow, maybe my face was there. Like, I made it a point to be visible and to be seen. So no wonder people, referred their friends and their clients to me. No wonder people out of the woodworks came and started to ask me, what is your rates for one-on-one coaching? How can I sign up? It wasn't because I was necessarily selling, but it was because I was visible. When you can stay top of mind for your audience and for your clients, they're immediately always going to think about you for the problem that they're trying to solve, right? Because at the end of the day, there's so many people who do what I do. And you guys probably follow 10 or 20 or hundreds of other people that are quote unquote business coaches, right? But as you guys continue to see my stuff, first of all, you guys are here, right? You're watching this either live or on the replay. Or some of you guys have joined some of my offers and my programs. Some of you guys watching now are in monetized social membership. And some of you guys joined, not because I was quote unquote directly selling, but because you guys kept seeing my stuff everywhere. Okay. So when you think about marketing, Rachel, yes, attraction. So when you think about like marketing, it does go back to that attraction piece, right? But this is looking at the strategic piece when it comes to attraction, right? Because yesterday when we talked about attraction, it was like the embodiment, being someone, showing up in a way that you just radiate magnetism. But there is also a strategic way to attract people, and that is through like being more visible. That is through content. That is through being consistent and showing up. Okay. So now you might be wondering, like, okay, I know I have to create content. That's good. These are the two different type of content pieces that I recommend starting off with and what I recommend focusing on. Educational content, story content. Now, this is probably like, duh. Obviously, we have to create valuable content and content that shares like a story. Now, I'm going to show you guys two examples where I don't believe I was like directly selling something, but I had a lot of people comment, engage, share, save, and even a few people reach out. Okay. So I'm going to first go through educational content. And for those of you guys who may not know what educational content is, it's basically valuable content where you're teaching your audience something. So if they read your content, they can either implement something that you are teaching, they can get a quick win, they can get more insight of even why you are like the best person to teach this thing. Okay. Story content is you basically like sharing a story. This can be like transformational posts. This can be experiences. This can be something that happened to you, today or last year or 2 years ago. It's basically you painting that perfect picture for your audience, depending on whatever it is that you're talking about. Okay, so let me stop sharing this for a sec so I can pull up the examples. Okay, let me actually go through this one first. So for this one, so this one doesn't even have a caption. I was like, where's the caption? Doesn't have one. Okay, so for this one, this was an educational piece of content. Why I refuse to coach people into investing into one of my offers. Now, sometimes like someone might look at this and be like, how is this educational? Because it doesn't say how to do X, Y, and Z. Now, educational content has evolved within the past like 6 months to a year. What used to work, like how to do X, Y, and Z, it still works, but not as effectively as it used to. What works now is sharing from your point of view, things that you've experienced, but teaching through it. So I'm going to go through and just like quickly run through these slides. But take note, every single slide has a lesson people can implement into their life and their business. But the actual text and the language I'm using isn't how to do X, Y, and Z, because it's not that simple, right? So why I refuse to coach people into investing into one of my offers, they haven't paid me for my time. My clients pay me $1,000, X, Y, and Z. So if I wanted to, like, this entire post is basically teaching people how to set boundaries with either clients coming in or how to attract the right type of clients, like aligned clients, right? So it's setting boundaries and setting standards. And it can even be like a sales type of post or content. It brings in unaligned clients. There was a season in my business where I coached people, it backfired. They want to like hand holding, right? So if right now someone's experiencing this in their business, unaligned clients, now they know to look at, am I actually coaching the client before they come into a paid container? And if someone is, they now know to stop doing that, right? Even though I didn't directly tell them, but I'm sharing through experience. I simply don't want to. It feels icky when it's coming from a help me energy, right? So it's one thing to send an encouraging message, but it's another thing to work through like their fears with them. It doesn't do them justice. People really liked this slide because for me personally, I believe the transformation happens for a client before they ever even invest. So that was a complete different perspective of people understanding how sales happen, right? It's like before someone even pays you money, puts on their credit card, joins an offer, that's the transformation before they ever even invest, how they lead themselves, how they reach out, how they actually buy. So for me, when I look at it, it basically robs them of having a transformation if you treat them like a child before they invest into one of your offers, right? And then the last thing was just, I'm more than happy to answer questions, X, Y, and Z. But it's their job to work through their fears. So this one got a lot of engagement and people really loved it, as you guys can see. And this one, honestly, like I made that post kind of on the fly. It was because someone had reached out to me and they I could tell they needed coaching in order to buy. So for me, I'm like, okay, let me make a post that will actually help people, but I share it through experience. So you can also say this is like an overlap of like educational and story content. Now, this is an example of story content. I literally just made this post like about, I think like last week or something. And I shared me, right? 19-year-old me and 26-year-old me. So this was basically just talking about when I was 19, I was terrified to go on social media and do a live video. And I basically shared the story. This was me, a screenshot of me doing my first ever Facebook Live. And this was me just like the other day recording a video on like a Sunday for something. And I went through the story of like how it took me forever to hit record, why I did it, how it was courageous, and how that led me to building a multi-six-figure business, speaking on TEDx, writing a book, getting featured on NBC, all of the things, right? So the entire point of this story was to show people it wasn't necessarily the strategy that got me to where I was at. It was the courage and it was the real identity of who I was. So sometimes when people look at getting transformation in their life or in their business, once again, going back to what I was saying earlier, they think it's like a magic golden secret. It's not. It really isn't, because I guarantee almost like all of you guys, everything that I'm sharing, you guys have probably heard before to a certain point, whether it's from me or whether it's from somebody else. But when you can actually understand how to put this into context, how to utilize your story in a way where you're not just creating a piece of content to attract the perfect client, but you're actually creating it because you're experiencing it. See the difference? There's a difference between creating content that's good to attract the client versus creating content that's actually embodied that you're experiencing. Because it would have been super, like this is just an example, it would have been super unethical for me if I created a post that said how to attract clients who don't ask questions. How to attract clients who don't ask questions and they just buy. And then each slide talked about, this is what you can do. For me, that's not aligned because I still have clients who ask me questions before they join something, right? So this is where, when you're looking at your content, and this, I might actually add this into your guys' homework for today, take a look at your content and bring awareness to, is it really embodied with what you are dealing with, what you are experiencing, what you have already done in your business and in your life? And if you're like, ooh, I could get better at that, amazing, because that on its own is going to scream like magnetism to people, because people can actually feel whether or not your content is like generic or original. Okay. Let me know in the chat if you guys are loving this and this is all making sense. You guys are following. Just put a 1 in the chat. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you guys are following with me. Okay, this hooked me. Why I refuse to coach people who investing into one of my offers. I even sent it to one of my clients. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And I'm assuming that's, you just resend the same post. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh man, hopefully it'll inspire them to pay you that money. Yeah, absolutely. 1. I sent your post to them. I love that. I love that so much. So these are a few things that you want to take a look at when it comes to your content and your marketing. Okay, so let's go back to the slides because we still have a good amount to go through and we're almost at the hour already, but that's okay. So after marketing, you want to take a look at your sales process. Okay, you want to take a look at how are you actually having the transaction like be made. So sales is basically the transaction, right? It's when someone pays you money, you get paid, they get the offer, they get the product, they get the service. And so I always say, have a simple sales process. And don't just have a simple sales process to have a simple sales process. Have a simple sales process that allows you to maintain and scale your business with ease. Keywords: maintain and scale. If you have a sales process right now that if you were to bring in 20 more clients, you would be on the floor crying and you would not want to do your business next month, it's not a simple sales process. It's not a simple sales process. Okay, so back when I, once again, made the jump from 2,600 to 30,000, back then I was doing sales calls. I was doing sales calls and it worked for me. However, I quickly realized it wasn't sustainable because I didn't want to have a team that I would manage who would do sales calls for me. And I didn't want to be on calls in order for someone to buy from me. Okay. So that's when I pivoted to selling in the DMs. And some of you guys were in Selling the DMs program. We just wrapped that up yesterday, where I talked about like how to actually pivot from selling on sales calls to selling in the DMs. And if you guys are interested in that, you can send me a DM and you can now buy that at Replay. But the reason why I did that once again was I was so aware that 1 year, 2 years, 5, 10 years down the road, as I scaled to like multi 6 figures, 7 figures, I didn't want to be on sales calls. I didn't want to, and it wasn't sustainable, right? It's like, I didn't want to, it wasn't sustainable. So I wrote down here in bold, the way a sales transaction is made doesn't quote unquote actually matter. Like, it does not matter how someone like pays you. It can be through a link, a landing page, a webinar, a training call, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? But it matters as long as you are okay with it and you actually see your business scaling with this simple sales process. Okay, so this also might be, maybe you do need to, have a landing page set up, or maybe you do need to get on sales calls. And maybe you're not making any sales through Messenger because you're just starting out in your business and nobody trusts you. Like, I'm also like, this is something that a lot of people say in the industry is like, you don't need to do sales calls. You don't need to do sales calls. But also at the same time, if nobody knows who you are, sometimes getting on calls is good to build trust, to build relationships, to build connections so people can actually get to know you, especially if you are in the season of just like building your brand on social media. Okay. So the way someone pays you doesn't quote unquote actually matter, but what really matters is how you sell your offer. So you want to focus on selling the transformation and what I call the real life scenario someone will receive versus the actions and the features. Now, this is an example I always use to show people how to sell an offer that focuses on the benefits, not the features. So let's say, for an example, we're selling an umbrella. Okay, we're selling an umbrella, and you see an advertisement talking about this amazing red umbrella. Okay, and it talks about like the wooden handle, the adjustable height, and of course it's waterproof, right? What umbrella would it be if it wasn't waterproof? Like, duh, right? We're like, okay, cool, this is a cool umbrella. Now we see another advertisement that says, buy this umbrella so that way it can shield the sun. So shield the sun during your son's soccer game on a Saturday afternoon. So that way you don't have to run inside and wipe off your sweat, but you can actually enjoy the soccer game. Tell me in the chat, which advertisement would you probably actually buy from? A or B? And features is A, benefits is B. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I would buy from B, benefits. And the reason why I say this is because it creates an emotional connection for someone to buy, and they can actually see themselves using it in real time. Once again, there's millions of umbrellas out there that have wooden handles, adjustable heights, and they're waterproof. Like, I can find a million that do that. But can I find an umbrella that will actually shield the sun and make me feel really happy that I can actually watch my son's soccer game instead of getting like drowned by the sun? Right? Let me look at the chat. Benefits, B, benefits. Yeah. So with your offer, with your service, write down, make a list. What are the benefits? What are the real life scenarios of your real offer? Like, what is it? Because the thing is, you can still talk about features. I'm not saying like never talk about features, because that's still needed for someone to buy, right? I tell people like there's, X amount of calls and you get support and homework and all of these things, but that is not always going to be the real reason why someone does and does not buy. Now, once again, it's relative. Sometimes people buy just by features. Sometimes people buy just by benefits. But usually, like I want to say 75 to 80% of the time, when they can see themselves in real-time scenario using this product or seeing it transform their life in some sort of way, it's easier for them to buy. It's easier for them to lean in. So just think about it. Take like 20 seconds to think about one benefit that your offer creates for your audience. And let me know in the chat, actually. Let me know in the chat. And if someone needs help with this, comment below. We're going to go a little over the hour because we have about 10 minutes left. So maybe like 10 minutes after. So if you guys can still stay, that would be amazing because we still have a lot to go through. But comment below, what's one benefit that your offer has? And if you guys need support workshopping through this, just let me know. Marley, they can see themselves using it because it applies to their problem. It's the solution. Yeah. Let me look at the chat. Heal ancestral trauma. Yeah, so that's amazing. I would put that into a scenario, right? So heal ancestral trauma. What does that actually mean? So, and I don't know exactly your name. Hi, Priestess Estable. I don't know what your first name is, but when I think about that, Maria, so good to see you here. So Maria, when I think about that, and of course, I don't know your niche in your industry because you're the expert at this, but when I think about this, I'm like, okay, heal ancestral trauma. How would that show up in a real life scenario? Maybe people feel really uncomfortable when they see their grandparents. This was actually something for me when I would see my grandparents from my dad's side. There was like a lot of like chaos going on. So for me, I always got like anxious and I got anxiety every time I would see my family. So if you can put that in, once again, that scenario, like what is actually happening in someone's mind and someone's brain, if I knew I could do something to heal that type of trauma that I'm feeling inside of my body before I go see like my grandparents, That would be amazing. But if I were to see the words heal ancestral trauma, I don't know what that means. Some people might, which is great, but I wouldn't know what that means. So almost think about it like sometimes marketing is like really dumbing it down. Like if you were to tell like a child this, like an eight-year-old, would they understand what you were saying? Would they understand what you were saying? So that's an example that I would recommend kind of working with, Maria, so you can get more clear in what the benefit is. Austin, benefits. My offers help people streamline their business and health. So how does that show up in someone's life? Streamline their business and health. So what is actually happening in day to day? Are they like working until 2 a.m. and then not sleeping enough? Is that the real problem that is happening? And if so, what is the solution? They get more time for self-care and the things they want. Yeah, so I would even get more clear, what is self-care? Like more time with family, more time to get a massage, more time to just literally sit on your couch and do absolutely nothing but watch TV. Like get even more detailed and like, what would people do? What do people want? What is self-care? Jeff, benefit, you have the satisfaction of finally completing your novel and sharing your story with the world. I love that. That's good. You have the satisfaction of finally completing your novel and sharing your story with the world. Yeah, that's amazing. And even like, I'm gonna keep giving you guys feedback so you guys can get better at this. Jeff, what does satisfaction look like? Is it sitting down on the couch and then like you're literally sitting down on the couch? Let me slow down so I don't stutter over my words. On like a Saturday morning and you're looking outside of your window and you're like, oh my gosh, like I did it. I did it. Or maybe it's Friday evening after a long week, you finally finished your book and now you're getting ready to go out to dinner with your friends. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to complete the book or whether or not your story is going to be shared with millions of people. So those are just a few examples that you guys can use. And let me do one more. Courtney, saves business owners time. And Courtney, I know we talked about this in Selling the DMs and on our call, but like for like what time? Saves time for them to do what? To work with their clients more, to spend more time with their family, to actually just like sit down and think, sit down and just think. Saves them time so they don't have to worry about scrambling to make a post on social media. Saves them time so they don't feel stressed where their next client is coming from. Like what type of time are you helping them save? And what would they much rather be doing? So this is great, guys. Awesome. So I would just continue writing down all the benefits that your offer has. Okay. Now, actually, before I go into that, marketing, offers, marketing, and sales. I was trying to think of like the three things I just focused on. Offers, marketing, and sales. So those are primarily, once you start to refine all three of those, that is going to help you get better at attracting clients, of course, selling your offers, but then also going back and having like a real strategy for your actual month. Now, this is basically the breakdown of what I did when I showed you guys this 100 feet overview of what I did that month to jump from 2,600 to 30,000, right? So remember, I hosted a 5-day challenge. So I wanted to create a 4-week timeline to show you guys exactly what I did. So you guys can either implement this on your own or create a variation of it. Okay. So on here, you can see my pretty little calendar and I highlighted specific things of what I was doing. So for the first 2 weeks of the month, and once again, like this might not be like exactly what I did, but this is what I would recommend for you guys to do moving forward, is for 2 weeks, promote whatever challenge, masterclass, freebie that you're doing and get visible with content and collaborations. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to touch on and just briefly say, you don't have to do a 5-day challenge. It can be a 2-day masterclass. It can be a 1-day masterclass. It can be a 10-day challenge or a 30-day challenge. Like, the length of time does not always matter. So you don't have to do like a 5-day challenge. It can be like a 3-day workshop or like a 2-day meditation, whatever that is for you. Just get creative with what you want to create. But give yourself time. Give yourself time to promote and get visible. Now I give myself at least a week to promote something that I'm doing. But back then I would give myself 2 weeks. And once again, the reason why was I gave myself more time to be visible and to get signups. Okay, so 2 weeks, that's all that I focused on. Now, simultaneously at the same time, because I know some of you guys are thinking, am I selling during that time? You still can. You can still have call to actions at the end of your post. And guess what? If your content is really, really good, it will sell itself and people will still reach out to you asking how they can buy. The third week, from like 16th to 20th, host the actual challenge, right? Host it. So whether it's, once again, 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, do that. Now you can see on the 18th and the 20th, it's highlighted in yellow. When I would do 5-day challenges, it has been quite some time since I've done a 5-day challenge. I want to say like over a year ago. Those are the days that I would sell and invite people into my offer. So on the 3rd day and the 5th day, that's when I would sell. Usually people would wait until like the very last day. You could do that too. But for me personally, in terms of like strategy, I found it worked best on day 3 and day 5. Now, also for me, as you guys know, I am very transparent when it comes to selling my offers. So it wasn't like, sign up for this workshop and then I'm going to give away fluff. And at the end, join my program. Like, I personally hate that. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. So most of the time I would talk about my offers during the trainings, just like how I'm doing with you guys right now. You guys know I have a membership. You guys know I have private coaching. You guys know I have programs. Like, there is no hidden agenda for it, right? Of course, I'm doing it to provide value, to build relationship, to build connection. But at the same time, you will have people who join your masterclass, your challenge. They'll buy the offer you're selling, but there will also be people who don't, and that's okay. So for me, also mindset wise, when I do these masterclasses, challenges, workshops, I don't have any expectation at the end. I don't expect 20 million people to sign up and join. That's amazing if they do, because strategically, it is much more likely someone will join, but release all expectation, because that's also where you can build up so much pressure and you can feel so overwhelmed and so burnt out and drained by the end of the month if you have like all of your eggs in this one basket. Okay, so that's where you also want to go back to DNA, delusion, normalize, attract. Delusion. Of course, so many people are going to sign up. Like, why not? Because that's just going to happen. Normalize. Like, it's normal for me to do master classes. It's normal for people to sign up. It's normal for me to have 10K, 20K months. And then like attraction, right? I have done the actions. Now let me sit back and receive. That doesn't mean you go into controlling or overthinking mode when you're doing this process. Okay, so I just want to make that clear so that way you guys are still in that energy when you're doing this. And then after you host the challenge the following week, what I did was I did a launch for the offer. So I had an offer that was like, I went to full launch mode on the back end of the challenge. So for me, it's like, for that specific time, it was like a 3-month program and I had an incentive for people to join. And it was like a bonus. So for you, if you're selling a new offer, amazing, do a launch in the back of like a challenge. If you're selling an offer that's an evergreen or something you've ran before, add an incentive, add a bonus, add like a freebie. It can be like, a price adjustment if you want, but add something, like add urgency so people will actually join. And then the following week, like the last 3 days or something, give yourself the time, take the time to make your freebie evergreen. Okay, so if you remember, if I go back here, the last piece of this was making it evergreen, because guess what? In order for me to normalize the 20K months, the 10K months, 30K months, whatever you want to normalize, you want to make sure you can duplicate this. for me personally, and I know for you, I don't want to be running live masterclasses challenges every single month. I could, it's fun, but what if I could just turn it into Evergreen? So I took the time, and that's why I put in the calendar, like take the time to actually make it Evergreen. Whether it's setting up emails, putting on a landing page, just like making everything clear, make it a point to set it as Evergreen and actually use it, because it's one thing to set it, but if you don't actually use it, then it's not going to work. Right, because you guys have probably so many assets that you have created over the course of like 6 months to a year that you either are using or you aren't using. So make it a point to make it evergreen, because then I just literally use that the next month to get more clients in, get more people in, learn, implement, buy. And that was like repeated over and over again. Okay. So if any questions are coming up, drop it inside of the chat and let me know. We have one more slide, which is basically reminders, things that you want to keep in mind when you're doing this process. And then we're going to go into what you can join next. I'm going to talk about the membership and then any questions you guys have. And then we're going to go through homework. Okay, so don't jump off quite yet because we still have a little bit left. So, I'm looking at the chat in the Facebook group. Marley, could you use that 4-week timeline for publishing, launching a book? How? Yeah, so I'll briefly just touch on this. And people in the Zoom room, if you guys have questions, let me know. So I honestly did a similar thing to this when I wrote and published my book. You can see my book back there, like right there, if you guys can see it. So yes, you can do the exact same thing. Honestly, what I recommend doing, this is what I did. I wrote and published my book in 30 days. I published it on Amazon and hit bestseller within the day. So what I did was I put everybody in a Facebook group and I was like, watch me write this book. So I would give them updates, ask them for feedback, show them covers and titles, and I made them a part of the journey. So what happened was at the end, when I actually launched the book, it sold out and everybody bought it because I made them a part of the journey. Now, if you're using the book for like a much more strategic approach to like actually like, for me, when I wrote the book, it was more so for my brain. It wasn't necessarily to make money from it. If you were doing it to like, of course, make money and also get clients into the door, I would do honestly the exact same thing. But instead of a challenge, since you're doing it for launching a book, I would do like the Facebook group thing and I would do it for the month. Like I would get on other people's podcast shows, interviews, do collaboration, just talk to people who have even written a book. And then I would have events, a Facebook group where you just put people in who are interested to see the journey of you writing the book and launching it. And then, yeah, then do the exact same thing when you launch. Good question. Okay. Now, a few things to keep in mind as you are doing this. Okay, shoot for consistency every month in your business. Okay, it's not like pushing so hard one month and then falling the next, which is what I wrote right here. Like this is about embodiment of the process at all times, right? Because when you look at everything that I shared with you guys on today's training, some of you guys might be feeling, and let me know how you're feeling in the chat. Some of you guys might be like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like I'm going to go implement this. And some of you guys might feel a little heavy. Like, oh, okay, like this is actually like a lot of work. It's not when you break it down day by day and when you don't like push so hard just one month that like the next month you just don't even want to do anything for your business, right? So shoot for consistency every single month so that way you can grow and scale. Use the assets you already have in your business. Once again, AKA like trainings you already ran. So this training, I'm going to turn it into an evergreen freebie. So you guys are going to see me talk about my stories in my post, and I'm going to be sending people to this training. Things to keep in mind, remember, focus on reoccurring income. Okay, so once again, like this happened for me with payment plans for multiple offers. Like when I hit $30,000, it was like multiple offers. It was reoccurring income. Okay. And then lastly, yeah, I already said this before, but you don't have to do a 5-day challenge. It can be any type of free offer, right? It can be like a masterclass, it can be a training, it can be a workshop, a boot camp, 1 day, 3, 5. Usually I recommend like if you are wanting to do some sort of freebie where like you're really connecting with your audience, I recommend at least like 2 days. 1 day masterclasses are amazing, but sometimes it doesn't give you enough time to like connect with the audience. So at least 2 days. Okay. So let me just look at the chat. So I'm ready to take more aligned action. I can hold at least 20K months. Thanks for the DNA plan. Amazing. Amazing. All right, guys. So that is the end of day 2, the strategy to reach 20K months and make that your normal in your business. Before we go into homework, and if you guys have any questions, what I want to cover is, and then the last thing that I forgot to say is when you show up, are consistent, continually recognize your worth, you will always attract clients to you. Okay, so same thing that I said here, like consistency and then going back to DNA, right? It's like, just remember those two. So that way you are able to continually build and scale. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on is, what is next? Okay, so I know some of you guys have already reached out and asked, like, what is monetized social membership? So monetized social membership is the next thing that you want to join if you want to continue to stay consistent, to grow your social media and sign on clients every single day. So this is basically my monthly membership for online coaches, service providers who you want to know what to do every single day in your business to grow your social media and sign on clients. So the way monetized social membership is structured is you get access to a portal and you get access to a Facebook group community. It's not the one you guys are in, it's a separate one. So every single week on Monday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, there's a drop in the portal. It's a video with a weekly action plan that has daily steps for you to take to basically, once again, grow your social media and sign on clients. Every single month, there is a theme. Okay. Every single month, there is a theme. So for this month, it is all about money mindset. Now, as you guys know, because I literally talked about it for an hour yesterday, if you stay consistent with your frequency of your worth, it is easier for you to attract cash and clients to you. So for the month of March, every single day, I'm giving you action prompts to stay aligned with receiving money into your business, money into your life, and a specific plan for you to do every single day in terms of like action. Okay. So I'm just so excited about this because every time I do something like this, people start to make magic money. I'm so excited about this one because I'm even doing it with monetized social members. So I'm doing every single day in March because I practice what I preach. Okay. So this is also a screenshot of the portal. And then every single month, there's a live Q&A call with me where you get to ask me anything about your business, support, strategy, marketing, sales, anything, and I give you feedback. So if you're somebody who's like, I loved this masterclass, and you're like, I want to keep the momentum, I want to keep the energy, I want to keep the strategy, I want to know the newest and trendiest ways to grow and sign on clients, you want to be in monetized social membership. And when you do join on, you can see right here, you also get immediate access to other things inside of the portal. So last month, the entire month was all about TikTok. The month prior, it was about Instagram growth and sales. There's bonus masterclasses in there, different ways to create content. So a lot of things in there, but the main thing people really have been loving is like the daily action items and the weekly action items. So that way also you get to connect with anybody and everybody else in the community. And it's not like you're going through this by yourself. Okay. So if you guys want the link to join, comment or DM me membership and I will get you the link to join. And it's only $49 a month. So you know, it's something that is so simple, but I always say the basic actions lead to daily transactions. And that's one of the main reasons why I even started this membership, was because it's like, I see so many people building and scaling, but they forget the basics. And some of you guys might be wondering, is this for newbies only, or is this for like scaled business owners? This is for both. So I have people joining and people in the membership who are just starting their business. And I also have people in the membership who are already making multi-six figures, and both of them love it. right? And as I just said, I'm also going through it right now too, because what I focus on there works. Okay. So if you guys want the link to join, comment or DM me and I will get you the link. Okay. So let me stop sharing this and go back to all of you wonderful people. Okay. So what I want to go through is homework and any questions you guys have. Okay. Any questions you guys have. Now, the homework for today, which I will post in the group, is pretty simple. And basically all you're doing is you're mapping out your month. You're mapping out your month. You're going to map out your offers. You're going to map out your content. You're going to map out like your simple sales process. And I want you to take a look at like, what are you going to do in March? What are you going to be doing in April? And take what I shared with you and actually implement it into your business and post in the Facebook group, especially if you also like want feedback. And also feel free to tag me. I'll give you guys feedback on it too. Okay. So that is the homework. I will post it inside of the group. And then, oh, the last thing before I forget, giveaway. If you guys still want to be a part of the giveaway, just take a picture, screenshot, boomerang, selfie, tag me on Instagram and Facebook, and you guys will be a part of the giveaway. And I will announce that probably tomorrow morning around like 11 a.m. Either I'll make a post or I'll go live in this group. Okay. I see Itty. She sent me a message. Yeah. So if you guys want the link for the membership, send me a message either on Facebook or Instagram and I will get you guys the link. Before we jump off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here and playing full out with me. Like what I said in the beginning of this masterclass, this is something I absolutely love to do. Like I've been doing masterclasses like this ever since before I ever even made money. And for me, it's always about like, I want to give you guys the most amount of value, whether it's free or whether it's paid, right? Because at the end of the day, I know all of you guys are going to implement what I taught you, but then also it's like you guys also have the opportunity to communicate and collaborate with each other. Okay. So if you guys are in the membership, any of my other offers, I will see you guys there. If not, I will see you guys in the Facebook group because it is March 1st, guys. It is March 1st. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel an amazing energy. Okay. You're so welcome, Jeff. Thank you guys for being here. I will see you guys where I see you guys. And as always, make sure that you guys stay unforgettable. All right. Bye, everybody.